Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be going over the brand new Dominique Cosmetics Latte 2 palette. I have 4 different looks for you guys. I'm going to give you guys swatches, comparisons, everything, but I am going to do the format just a little bit different like I did in a recent video. I'm going to show you guys all the swatches, the information. I'm going to give you guys my review on the palette, and then at the end I will show you guys all 4 looks. I had a lot of comments saying that they really liked that type of format. Let me know if you like that. I think I prefer it whenever I'm doing something like this and I have so many different looks to show you. But you guys let me know down below which one you prefer and we'll see how it goes. All right, let's go ahead and get into the palette. This is the outside packaging right here. If you're familiar with the original Latte palette, it comes in a sleeve. So this one is the original and it has this little sleeve right here, but the new one comes in a box like this. It has this really nice texture to it. It has a coffee spill type of feel. It's really, really nice. And this is the actual palette and it continues that theme. You can actually feel texture on this cardboard packaging. It feels really nice. It says Latte 2, Dominique Cosmetics, and then on the back we just have, it says eyeshadow, Dominique Cosmetics. It's an eyeshadow palette, which I need to talk about in a few moments. But before we do that, let's get into the inside. You have a mirror, just like you do with all of her palettes, and then these are the new Latte 2 shades. I can't. The first shade is Cafecito, a satin rust red with gold flecks. Coffee beans, deep brown matte that doubles as a contour powder or bronzer. Cafe con leche, warm pink peach matte that can be used to correct darkness. Frothy, matte cream shade that doubles as a brightener. Blonde roast, matte warm yellow. Drizzle, metallic bronze with silver flecks. Iced coffee, metallic chocolate with gold and silver flecks. Frappe, pale pink with silver flecks. Strawberry milk, rosy pink matte that doubles as a blush, and then matcha, a matte pale green. Christian Dominique, the owner of Dominique Cosmetics, is marketing this as, an eye and cheek palette. So this one right here, Frothy, I did try this to brighten up underneath my eyes and I had to kind of go back in. It was just a little bit too bright for me. I don't particularly like to have too much brightness underneath my eyes, but if you really like that really bright under eye look, it does work for that. This shade right here, I didn't really feel like it was doing any kind of color correcting. I don't think the color is quite right for that personally, but I do like it as an eyeshadow. This shade right here, the Strawberry Milk, I do have this on as a blush today. I think it is beautiful. And then this one right here is a shade she was saying you could use as a contour bronzer. This is much too deep for my complexion, but I do think that somebody that has a deeper complexion would absolutely be able to contour with that. It blends out nicely, but it's just too dark for someone that has my skin tone, which is, I would consider myself to be a light to medium. But all of the shades in here are beautiful. You're gonna see me using every single one of these in my tutorials. I use them all. I wanted to make sure that I really knew how these performed before I spoke about them. I think they all work really well. And I want to show you, let me see, I'm going to get the Latte original palette out of its sleeve. Here you can see the new one, Latte 2, up against the original. And I do think that these shades down here are reminiscent of each other. And then obviously this shade here, this one, it definitely has more orange to it, but something like this and this brown, you're not going to notice a huge difference. Obviously this one's a little bit deeper, but there are some similarities, but overall I do think that they are 2 different palettes. You can see in the swatches, I put the shades that are most comparable side by side and just mark them Latte 1 and Latte 2. Basically there are 2 different natural palettes with pops of color. With the Latte 2 you have this yellowy orange, this mint green, and then the coral pink, and on the original you have the orange, purple, and the blue. The Latte 2 retails for $40 $22, and they have paired with St. Jude's. On the Dominique Cosmetics website, it reads, "We are excited to team up with St. Jude's Children's Hospital to donate a portion of the purchase price of the Latte 2 palette." So I think that is incredible that she is doing that. My impression of Christian Dominique is just that she's a good person in general. I just have this really good, genuine feeling from her. And with her releases, I remember the Lemonade palette and feeling like, you know, it was kind of hit or miss in that palette. Some of the shades did not work well. I remember one was just really hard pressed and it didn't come out very well. And instead of saying, hey, return your palette or do this or do that, jump through hoops to make this right, she just went ahead and sent out another palette. I think that speaks volumes about a company and a person, and a lot of people should definitely take notes. All right, let me go ahead and give you guys my full thoughts on the palette. So like I said, I think all the shades perform really well. There's one thing that I have to complain about, and it's this shade right here, which actually happens to be my favorite. The shade Frappe. It is so beautiful. It's what I have on my lids today. It's one of the first looks that I did. I wore it in, I believe, my favorites video. I just think it is so pretty. It's kind of like a mixture of a shadow and those topper shades that you can find with like Tom Ford, Charlotte Tilbury, and it's easier to use. A lot of the times you have to go in with your finger with this type of shade, and I felt that it worked really well with the brush. If you wanted it to be more intense, you could definitely go in with a wet brush or even use something like a glitter glue, a glitter adhesive, and it's going to be a lot more intense. But I love the wash of sparkle. But that's where it gets tricky. This has sparkle in it. Not even just like, oh, it's a matte mixed with a little tiny little pieces or even a metallic with tiny little sheen. This has some actual glitter in it, and I felt it on my face whenever I was doing my looks. This is marketed as an eyeshadow palette. It says it on the palette and it says it on the box, and I was looking everywhere to see if it was saying anything about this shade, but it doesn't. I saw the glitter the first time that I used it, and then I had a comment on Instagram as well, and that's when I kind of started to do a little bit more investigating, and it doesn't say that anywhere. So I just want to make sure that you guys know that Frappe does have glitter in it, and you need to be careful because you don't want to scratch your eye. You don't want to irritate your eye or anything like that. I did actually get some of the particles in my eye. I was able to just kind of rinse it out and it was fine, but it's still a risk that you are taking. So just keep that in mind. Still my favorite shade in the palette. This shade right here is a satin, and I think it blends out so beautifully. It's skin-like. It's just gorgeous, and it has this beautiful like reddish undertone to it. I just absolutely love it. This shade right here, I used it to deepen up the look, and you can see right there the differences between the two. It works out really well. All the matte shades in here worked out well. Both of these metallic shades worked out really beautifully. I like this shade for a brow bone highlight. What I personally do not like is that we have these two darker shades and then two lighter shades. I think this shade would have been better had it been about at least 2 shades deeper. I think it would have created a little bit more diversity to the palette. I do think you are going to be able to get a wide range of looks with this palette, but this shade is very light. So medium skin tones and up, it's a light shade. Then you've got this one as well. So I just don't think it was necessary to have the 2 dark and the 2 really light. There's no real middle ground. That's why I used this one today for this look, because I didn't want to use anything too dark, but then I didn't really have anything that was that middle ground. So what I found was I applied this shade and then this one in the crease and all over, basically like the outer corner, all in the crease transition area. I applied this one all over the lid, and then I put this one on top, and that made this shade lighter. And it kind of made it a little bit more cool toned as well. It almost had like this purple kind of undertone to it, which I really, really like. And then this shade I think is so beautiful. I was very curious to see how it performed. So I really wanted to do a look that concentrated just on that color. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It was pigmented. It was really smooth, gorgeous, gorgeous shade. And then this one has pigmentation as well. So overall, I have no complaints with the actual quality of the palette. I just would say this needs to be marked as it having glitter, and then I would have changed this color. But I really like this palette. I'm very happy with this, and it is definitely something I intend on picking back up. But you guys let me know what you think. Did you grab this? Do you already have the original one? Which one do you like more? And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys. Oh yeah, and if you want to see the 4 looks that I created, just stay tuned.